sans dire à tout.
What's going on there, jerk faces? It's your boy Andy, and you're watching Nocturnal Transmissions, brought to you by the Circle of Jerks podcast. It's a conversation you could be having during the day, but having at night. We're back again with another wonderful stream for you, and today we have a guest, a friend of the show, David Blake, who is currently, who is currently working on his third draft for his manifesto.
He's in his Unabomber style shack.
Exactly.
Oh God.
But yeah, David, how you been?
Already would have been done.
Yeah. Yeah, but David, how have you been?
I've been good, man. Yeah, you ever had that? You ever had something really spicy kick your ass for 3 or 4 days? And I'm not talking about Indian food.
Not quite that bad. Oh,
Okay. I mean, I've had runs before, but
You remember that video I sent you the other day, Andy? You and Robert?
I can't recall.
Oh, I did the one.
I know what he's up to. There's something going around the interwebs as of a couple of weeks ago. I think it kind of started with this this potato chip challenge, that it's like some super ass spicy chip.
Oh, okay, yeah. The one chip challenge where it's like covered in ghost pepper dust and essence of Carolina Reaper or whatever. Yeah.
Yeah, it was it, dude, right? Yeah.
He won the battle, but he lost the war.
Right? Yeah. There you go. That is good.
I lasted a good 15 minutes before I took anything to drink, so I'm good.
Like I said, won the battle. You just lost the war.
Just lost the war.
Yeah.
It happens. But we got a bunch of stuff for you guys tonight. Of course, the movie review. Returning back to the movie review. We're starting that up back again.
We're resuming our theme that
movie
we
review
attempted last month, but we're resuming it.
Yes, and tonight we'll be reviewing the movie Patton, about General Patton, and also giving our commentary on news stories or topics currently in the news cycle. Let's get into it. Where do you guys want to start first? Maybe we should start with the border crisis, since the other topic kind of it'll act as a nice kind of lead into the movie review.
Yes, definitely. So
right.
let's get into that. I didn't think it could get much worse, but damn, it got worse.
When the president of the he wasn't president then, but when the president says, "Hey, come on in, we got tons of room," and you don't foresee a huge rush to the border, there's a word for that, and that's just and it's stupid. You're stupid. You're a stupid dumbass.
Well, it's it's funny because they were interviewing people that these guys that are trying to cross.
That's
the border.
Right. Early on. Yeah, they were. Yeah, some reporters who were actually doing their jobs went and talked with these people, and they flat out admitted that they came because of Joe Biden's invitation.
Basically.
I'll go ahead and say it. I'm not the one to sit here and say, you know what, welcome to the country. No, go back to where you came from. y'all are in another country for other reasons than what you're really here for. This dumbass president that we have right now who said, "Hey, come on in," turn around and lets everybody floods in, and you know he's not checking if they have a criminal background, nothing. He's just opening up the gates and saying, "Hey, come on in, come on in." Let me be
Right.
the first
Yeah.
one
Like
to tell
no
you.
vetting whatsoever.
Yeah,
Well, like I said, it's because I think a lot of people when I would say if you're just like listening to the mainstream media, and I think there's a lot of people that do watch that stuff, and that yet they also still love the country. And I think their concept of like immigration is like, oh well, our country is founded on like a lot of immigration, like, and but this is not these are not the immigrants of like the late
hey,
18th, the late 19th and early 20th century, like where people there was no safety net, and people like they knew that like they were taking a risk, but there's a potential for a better life to be had, and they
well,
bought into the American ideal that is, and a lot of people assimilated. They wanted to be here. They wanted to make a better life for themselves, and that's kind of like what our country was built on. What's happening today, however, is not that.
no,
This is something like people bash this in the legacy media, like where it's the people calling it an invasion, but that's kind of sort of what it is, because you these aren't like people coming from Mexico. It's not that.
Or it's
What
not.
this
It's not
really are,
exclusively
yeah,
Mexicans.
yeah, it's not
they're
exclusively
coming
Mexican.
from Honduras, they're coming from fucking El Salvador, they're coming from all over the place down in South America, Peru to here. And, I'm sorry, but, like you were saying, Robert, is, back in the day in the early 1800s and stuff, when, even before that, when, everybody was migrating over here and everything, and everybody was coming through Ellis Island, you know, they were checking backgrounds of people.
Yeah,
They were looking and saying, okay, you know what? All right, this dude killed somebody overseas in England
Right.
or
Yeah.
Ireland.
There was vetting going on, and also
Pop up.
that's right,
We
and also they were checking them for diseases. I mean, just I
yeah,
know it's a movie,
ringworm
but
and all that stuff.
yeah, I know it's a movie, but it's based on fact, and like in even in Godfather Part Two, when Vito Corleone makes his way to America and enters the process at Ellis Island, the doctor checked him out and it's like, oh yeah, he has smallpox, quarantined for like 2 weeks,
yeah. Well,
you know.
look at the hospital on the island and stuff off the coast of Ellis Island. There's a island that it's abandoned now. And
Right. I mean,
it was
it's part of the national park
made,
system, and it's a landmark and everything. But
yeah,
yeah,
but
that
it's
at some point it had a function, and that function was to ensure the safety of the general population of America. It's making sure that we weren't allowing in criminals or the diseased.
right. And there's no telling of what these folks have that are just walking across the river just to get underneath the bridge and sit there and wait and
And
populate. And
twiddle their thumbs. Yeah, and I mean, just like, and back then it was like really serious disease. I mean, like smallpox. That was a real fucking killer. Um,
That's natural disease, not what we're going through now.
yeah, just like like
but I'm
a slightly more severe flu. I'm not saying it's like the flu or it is the flu. I'm just saying.
I will say this right here is me personally, I have taken part in the smallpox vaccination. And I'm gonna tell you what, I've watched my Marines when I gave it to them because I was a foreman in the Navy and having to stick them with that fork and having to listen to some of their stories while being over in Iraq and, actually having to do a physical exam on them of you know, what certain body parts look like because the blister broke and they decided to do things that they shouldn't have done.
Jesus
Ugh.
Christ.
And,
Oh,
of what them parts look like, or even what any part of their body looked like. It was just thinking of living back then and seeing that on a small child or any human. Um, that terrifies me.
Yeah. But to me, like, going back to like the immigration thing, the thing that concerns me is because there's a lot of money changing hands. There's a lot of funding going through this because, like I said, it's not just from Mexico. They're not just crossing one border. Some of these guys are
Right.
crossing 5, 6, 7 borders to
Yeah,
get
and
here.
again, it's not that they're breaking U.S. law, but they're also breaking like international law. Like there's a process in which immigration happens, or in the case of like a lot of these people who are claiming asylum, it's not it's you don't get to claim asylum at the best country possible. It's it's not you can't go on Yelp and like check the reviews for each country. It's like, oh, like nice beaches, friendly people, blah blah blah. No, it's like the first country you get to from the country you came from. So like
Right.
if you're coming from like Honduras, then the next available country might be I don't even know I'm not even quite sure where Honduras is, but like let's just say for the sake of argument it's Ecuador. And so, like Ecuador is the first place you're supposed to try and, or that's the country you're supposed to try and get asylum in. It's the first country you get to that's not your country.
Yeah.
And then again, they're like breaking they're breaking the laws of all these other like sovereign countries, transgressing their borders illegally.
Mm-hmm.
And so,
Well, it's like this. The sad part is, you know, I can't even pronounce the woman's name correctly. Um, she's the media correspondent, I guess, for the White House or whatever. She's got red hair, shoulder length red hair or whatever.
oh
She,
yeah, Saki, circle back, Saki.
yeah,
Jesus Christ.
yeah, saggy nuts, my ass. But you know, she she sat there. She had a question the other day popped up to her, and it was about the whole fact of is why is it easier for illegal aliens to turn around and cross our borders to get into the United States? Hell of a lot easier than somebody trying to get on a plane from another country coming in, and the first thing they get is hey, stop. Let me see your vaccination. Have you been vaccinated? Have you ever been COVID positive? Have you been negative? Let's swab you. And she sat right there and she said, they're doing their meat, they're doing their best down at the border to to try to sort these um illegals out with due process. I'm sorry, but there is no due process. You came, you jumped a border, you jumped several borders. There's no due process. You're
Yeah.
Yeah.
illegal.
hmm
Take your
Yeah,
little
and I
big
mean,
ass back to your fucking
yeah,
country.
why is it so much harder for someone who's trying to do it, who's coming to this country the right way? Yeah, whether
Yeah.
it's like
It's like,
they're
no,
trying to
they
migrate
have to
here,
deal with the
whether they're trying to
process.
migrate here or whether they're just coming for a visit. Why is it more difficult for them than it is for someone who's claiming like, oh, my life is so hard, I need give like money please. Um,
Yeah. Well,
it's
and
it's
trust me, I know like the immigration process itself, like when you're doing it the right way, is a fucking pain in the ass. Like, and
Yeah.
it's
yeah.
expensive.
Well, I mean, yeah, I mean, Rob, you have like probably out of us, you have firsthand knowledge
Yeah,
because
you
your
got
wife is going
firsthand
through
knowledge
that.
of
I mean, the fees alone will cost probably about $5,000.
Mm-hmm.
Just like in like the lawyer fees and all like the all the filling out all the forms and the processing fees, like all that
Mm-hmm.
shit, like just that's just a start, and that's not a guarantee either. Like it could
Right.
have been $5,000 that I threw down the fucking garbage chute, trying to get this done. Thankfully it worked out, in our case, because it wasn't something where my wife was already like illegal, and we're trying to make something happen. Like it was all on the up and up.
Mhm.
Yeah, it was all on the up and up, but so it was actually, we had a good lawyer too, thank God. So it was a fairly smooth process, but damn, like it's a pain in the ass. And and even my wife, who she's going through this process, like and it was hard on her, it was very stressful on her, and she looks at people that are just cutting the line, that are doing it the wrong way, going about it illegally. It's like, that's fucking bullshit.
Yeah.
It's like,
Yeah.
yeah, you're preaching to the choir here. It's like,
Yeah, I mean, like, yeah, I've always given this analogy to to people who are just a little bit more dense. Um, but like, imagine you're in line. Imagine you go to McDonald's and you wait in line to go get your food, and then all of a sudden someone just comes in and jumps the line. Gets in front of you. Just walks in and just gets in line right in front of you.
yeah,
That's basically what illegal immigrants are doing. And I mean, even to go further, like and then imagine like you get to McDonald's, you wait in line, and you're the next person to go up and put in an order or whatever, and then someone comes in, just right in front of you, and then they take they go and go put in their order. Or even worse, you go to McDonald's, you wait in line, you get to the counter, you put in your order, you get your food, and someone just walks in and takes your food.
yeah,
Well,
That
here,
that
let me give you a scenario real quick. Let me give you this. Me personally, I know a lot of families, they're on, food stamps, EBT, and all that. Or EBT is food stamps. You
yeah,
know,
yeah, yeah.
and me personally, me and my family, we're on it. I'm not gonna lie, and I'm not ashamed of it. You know, I'm 40 years. I turned 40 years old today. I am legally blind. That means to me, by state standards, I can't work. To the naked eye,
Mhm.
people can look at me and say, "Oh, you're not legally blind." Well, whenever you looking through when you have tunnel vision all damn day, you're blind.
Yeah.
yeah,
I can't go
Yeah, just
behind.
like
I can't.
yeah, all you have to do is tell them, yeah, it's like, why don't you just attach some toilet paper tubes to your eyeballs and
Yeah,
walk around, see how good you see.
this
Tell me how good you
is-
see like that.
here's my
and
here's my
yeah,
bitch. Here's my bitch about these illegal aliens, illegal immigrants, whatever the hell you want to call them. They come in, they get on our, they get on our welfare, they get on our, food stamps, everything, that they think that they're entitled to, and they take it away from us who need it. I had a fellow who came, I didn't know he was an illegal alien. I didn't know that. I didn't know it at the time. Whenever I was giving him a ride home and everything one afternoon, me and him were talking, and he turned around and told me. He was like, "Yeah, I'm gonna have to leave for a while. ICE is, coming around searching the neighborhood." And I'm like, "ICE, you know, why is ICE after you?"
Hmm.
And he's like, "Well, I'm illegal, and the only, me and my wife, my kids were born here, but me and my wife are illegal, immigrants." Um, So, and I was like, "Oh, well, that sucks. I'm sorry to hate to have to do this to you, but I can no longer pay you."
yeah,
You know.
Mm.
And then he turned around and told me, he said, "Well, that's fine. I'm not worried about that anyway. I get, for me, my wife, and my son, I get $1,400 a month in food stamps.
Jesus Christ.
Jesus.
I have a family of 6. You want to know how much I get in food stamps?
I
Two
mean,
hundred and seventy-five dollars.
Jesus.
yeah, I mean, you didn't have to disclose, but Jesus Christ.
Well,
You
and
know,
that's kind of like the same problem I'm having,
Well,
because like,
that's a roundabout. That's not the exact amount, but that's roundabout what I get.
yeah, but was it the because right now, like, my wife has a disability too, but she, God bless her, she's a stubborn ass woman, as as Andy knows, and
I wish I
um,
didn't, but I do.
yeah, She still works. I know, and I know it pains me because I don't want her to work because like she has a hip disability, and yeah, she can walk, but it's so painful for her. And I'm trying to find something where like she, at least until we can get her surgery done to fix the situation. uh I don't want her to work because she's in a lot of pain, and trying to get her on like some sort of disability benefit up until that point, what a pain in the ass. It really is. And I was like, damn, maybe we should have just done this illegally so you would just get whatever.
Pretty much, yeah. She got one of those them fat Manila envelopes filled with cash.
Yeah, it's like
Hey,
the Biden special.
if she was illegal and she went to the emergency room, they'd have fixed her right up.
Yeah, I mean
That's no joke. They don't ask no
Yeah,
questions.
yeah, and that's
They got
that
you out the
sucks
door.
for the hospital. I get it, because because it's what is it? The like hospitals have a legal obligation, like especially if they come through the emergency room. Yeah, they have a legal obligation to treat you, and you and they can't collect until the end, but then most, especially illegals, like they just skip out on the bill. They put down some fake address, some fake information, and then after they're treated and they get their days worth of meds or whatever, then they're gone, never to be seen again.
It's crazy, man. uh But and here's the crazy part though. We're talking about like a lot of these guys that are coming in from they're not it's not like they're coming from like Venezuela, where there actually is some real crazy shit happening down there
Yeah,
that
well, they're literally eating zoo animals to survive.
yeah, it's not it's not like the German Jews from like fleeing the Nazi persecution, or Japanese fleeing Hirohito, or Italians fleeing Mussolini. No, these guys like don't actually have a problem in their country, and they just want the monetary benefits that they don't get in their country, which kind of seems backwards too, because the fact is like you're leaving your country, like all the working age men are leaving their country and making the country worse, like so you're making, and so it's making it like it's creating more of a problem where everyone's just going to leave the fucking country, and there's going to be no country. um but here's where the hypocrisy lies, because what this is now a couple months ago, where it's like there was the revolutions, or the riots going on in Cuba, which I haven't seen ever in my lifetime. Where it's like where they, and of course the media portrayed it as like, oh, they're it's the COVID vaccinations, they're not getting enough COVID vaccinations, so they're rising up against the government. It's like, no, that is not what they are protesting
Yeah.
against. I mean,
Yeah,
I don't.
yeah, they're
My
riding because they're
point is
fucking
not
hungry.
great,
That's
but
what it is.
they're not saying COVID vaccinations. They're saying libertad. They want
Yeah, they
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 want
want
freedom. Yeah, they're not saying
they want
vaccines, vaccines.
yeah,
That is not the refrain from the protesters, or at least
no.
until like all internet was like shut off on Cuba, so like
yeah.
the videos couldn't like get out there. But yeah, they weren't saying vaccine, or whatever the Spanish word for vaccine is. They're chanting libertad, libertad. It's like freedom, freedom, freedom.
Yeah.
Like
And
yeah, and
days
then but then of course the mainstream media is like, yes, freedom from disease. That's what they mean, freedom from
oh
disease.
man, yeah. But like literally days after that, they our Secretary of State came out and said that it's like, don't come. If you come from Cuba trying to get into our country, we will send you back. It's like, well, wait a second here.
But also,
Why?
isn't the Secretary of Defense like also a Cuban? Like,
That's I don't know.
wait,
I
is it Mayorkas? Is that the, or is that? Hold on, let me look this up real fast, because this is too. It would be too such delicious. It would be such delicious irony if it was.
You're right. The Secretary of Defense, not the Secretary of State. I got that wrong. I'm sorry, guys. But yeah, he.
Oh wait, that's
it's like,
Blinken.
Was it Blinken that said that, or
No. Yeah, but I know who you might be meaning. Oh, Mayorkas, yeah.
Mayorkas? Yeah,
Yeah, Alejandro Mayorkas.
yeah. He's telling him like,
Yeah,
yeah,
he's
don't.
from he's a fucking Cuban. He was born in Cuba.
So he's a pro-commie Cuban, essentially.
Pretty much.
Yeah, and that's the thing. The reason why allowing these guys from
Holding his brother
Libya or wherever from is because they know that they can manipulate those guys. It's a new
He's
voter base for the
yeah,
Democrats.
yeah. And they know that Cubans are gonna be voting for Republicans because they've lived under actual like communism, socialism. But yeah, he's Mayorkas. He's the Secretary of Homeland Security.
Okay, yeah. Sorry. So yeah, let's make sure we have that right. Yeah, it was the Homeland Security Director. The head of that is he was pretty much saying, "Don't come. We will send you back." And
Yeah, I got mine, but you can't have yours. That's pretty much what he was saying.
Guys were saying, 'cause I've been off of the news cycle for several weeks. I've been doing some other stuff. But apparently, like there's been some stuff going on with like Haitians trying to come into the U.S. and they're being turned back. And it's like
The only ones that ain't being turned back are the Mexicans down at the border.
yeah, it's like so something is very odd in that. It's just like why
Where do you think Biden's going to get his next set of votes from whenever it comes in 4 years?
Yeah, Jesus. If he's alive.
If he's alive, if he's not 25th, or Kamala doesn't push him down some stairs.
He already fell down the stairs. Well, he fell up.
He fell up.
Going up.
Yeah, he fell up. But yeah. If he doesn't have but if he doesn't have like another brain aneurysm, or he doesn't get 25th, or like I said, Kamala doesn't put something in his oat bran in the morning, then
Nancy Pelosi is not going to impeach him.
Hell
well, no. Like, but they might pull the 25th Amendment, which says like if the president is found to be mentally deficient or incapacitated, then he can be removed.
When Biden stops being useful, they're gonna pull that, guaranteed.
Yeah. But I mean, it's pretty surprising though when they're like the mainstream media started calling him on his shit. That was pretty interesting.
Oh yeah. Well, you heard about what one of the old I want to say it was one of the old prime ministers from over there in England. He
probably Tony Blair.
Huh?
Probably Tony Blair.
I think it might have been, but he even turned around and said that with this new presidential regime, America is nothing but a joke now. Because of
especially after Afghanistan.
The world.
And he even went on to say, he got cut off after he said this, but he even turned around and said, when granted, I know people don't like the man too much, but the guy even said when Trump was in office, the Taliban wouldn't even have thought about going, okay, if you're not out within before after August 30th, we're gonna start killing people. No, because Trump would have been like, go ahead, do it.
Yeah, like fuck you. All right, don't make me mow up your ass. All right, okay. Ask salami. Okay.
It's crazy what is happening. And like I said, when it comes to like the whole immigration issue, I'm not anti-immigration. Obviously, like my wife is from another country, like so I'm not anti-immigration. Obviously,
yeah, exactly. Me too, because my family totally benefited from immigration, particularly like the chain migration thing. Because my aunt came first with her husband, my uncle, and she was then sponsored the rest of my family.
That's right, and I don't and for people that I have no problem with that. Like where as long as like people who are coming over here that they buy into the American system, they believe in the ideals of what the United States stands for, and they are willing to do everything they can to live up to what the United States is, and not just be a drain on the system.
Right.
I mean, everyone, like, we pay an exorbitant amount of taxes. I mean, obviously, like, there's gonna be times where we do like these programs that we keep paying for. It's like there's gonna be to use them. That's fine. I have no problem with that. There actually are legitimate needs sometimes, but when you don't like America, but you live here, and you are a drain on society. You don't contribute, but you do is take. You're a leech. That's where, like, I have a huge problem. And the people that are here, that are trying to come here legally, that are here legally, and they are furious about this because this is bullshit. I've paid, sometimes, like, up to like, tens of thousands of dollars to be here, just to be here, and, like, in the hope that I can be an American citizen. And these guys are just, fuck it. I'm just, fuck the rules. I'll just, it's like, what the hell?
I had a friend of mine. Like I said earlier, I was in the military. I was in the Navy. I was with Robert and stuff. Me and him served together. I had a couple of friends of mine that were, they actually joined the military.
Yeah.
They joined the military to get their citizenships and leave their countries because it was so bad. And instead of joining the military in their own country, they came here, joined the military, and then turned around and went overseas and fought with me. And a couple of them died without their green card.
Yeah, that's the crazy thing, because I remember in boot camp, like, it was the same thing. There was 10 guys that were in my group that were from, like, the Philippines and Vietnam and Thailand. They're like, or in Korea. It's like, yeah, we love America. We wanted to join the military. Like, we want to be citizens of this country, and we're gonna fight for it. And I was like, damn, dude, that's hardcore. Like, yeah, I'm from this country. I wanted to serve my country. But you guys are coming from a completely different country. You love this country and you want to fight on our side. That's I gave a lot of respect to those guys, because that's hard. Because there really isn't a guarantee that they're going to become citizens there. And like I said, in the case of some of your guys, they died. So it's a risk.
Yeah, I told my fellas, I said, no matter what, I said, I'm gonna have your back.
You bleed red, white, and blue. All right, you're on our side.
I got you.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I gave a lot.
Yeah, that's really amazing. Yeah, because I didn't even know that was a thing, that just because you serve doesn't guarantee you citizenship.
Yeah, it don't.
It helps. It definitely helps, but it's
Right.
not a guarantee. There's
right.
no.
And I think that's why a lot of, because they always say, like, oh, like, especially during the campaign season, that's why I think it was in 16, but I think it's still, I think it's generally a Democratic talking point, where they talk about, illegal aliens who come, and then they join the military to, serve America and blah blah blah, blah, to get their citizenship, and but they make it seem like it's an automatic thing, which I think is also kind of a draw for, illegals to join the military, because, like, oh, like, if we go and we serve, then we get our citizenship. But this is really pretty amazing to hear, that it's just because you serve isn't a guarantee that you will get citizenship.
That's right. Well, and here's the other thing too, is because with a lot of those guys, it's not like they were in the country illegally and then they joined the military. No, they came from their own countries. And they had to actually pass. Obviously, they had to pass all of, like, the physical tests, the mental tests, and they had to be proficient in English. They can't. They obviously, for obvious reasons. You're joining the United States military, and English is the common language of the United States military. And yeah, obviously some guys have a little bit of accent. That's not a problem. But, like, you have to be proficient in English and understand it.
Right. Yeah. I mean, the military is not like the DMV, where it has. Yeah, the military is not the DMV where they have like instructions in like every single language possible.
Right. You know, you're not gonna get like confidential message traffic in like in Korean. You know, it's not gonna happen. It's gonna
Yeah.
be English.
Tortoise.
Yeah. So it's just I always respected those guys a lot. Like I said, there's so many different ways that you that you can come to the country in a legal way. It's tough, and one thing that actually really surprised me still that I'm shocked that they're asking this question still, but I'm proud that they're asking the question. Yeah, like I know when we were going through the green card interview for my wife, they asked her, it's like, are you or have you ever been a part of the Communist Party? And she's, I was like, no. It's like,
Yeah,
so
no, it's like that's pretty. Yeah, because I don't know if people realize this, but it's still illegal to be a communist in America.
yeah, we have a lot of our elected officials who are proud communists.
Yeah, I mean, if not card carrying members, but like they definitely espouse communistic ideals.
Oh, dude, if it was legal to be a communist in this country, Bernie Sanders would be part of that.
Yeah, he'd be the lead. Like he wouldn't be an independent. He'd be like the
He'd be the
chair.
head
He'd be the chairman of like the American Communist Party.
Yeah, easily.
Yeah.
It's bullshit.
Fun fact though, Bernie Sanders got kicked out of commune for being too lazy.
Which is
Let that sink in there for you guys there. Bernie Sanders
really fucking
got
lazy.
kicked out of a commune because he was too lazy.
That's horrible. How lazy you gotta be.
It's like, so he chose a job that's like, he chose a job that's even easier than being in a commune. That's becoming a United States senator.
Yeah.
Here, let me do this, and I'll see what I can do to bullshit people.
And he has been sucking off the teat of the taxpayers for the last.
Yeah,
15
no,
years.
yeah. I mean, Bernie Sanders. To my recollection, fact check me if you want, but I don't think Bernie Sanders has ever held like an actual job outside of the public sector.
No, he has not had a private sector job in his life.
Yeah,
Same
I mean
with,
he's basically been a couch surfer his entire life up until he became a millionaire, and then he stopped condemning millionaires and only went after the billionaires.
Same with our dementia-addled president. Never had a real job in his life.
Hey,
What are you talking about? He was the one. He was the one that punched Hitler in the face in World War II. Don't you remember?
Yeah.
What?
He was the one that led the manhunt for John Wilkes Booth. Way back when after the president was assassinated.
Well, he's been a senator since like 1862 or something like that.
Yeah, exactly.
Wasn't he a coal miner in Pennsylvania or something?
No. That was his daddy. After his daddy came on the Mayflower.
Yeah, he's just old Scranton Joe Biden.
That's what it was.
Oh my God! That's how you know people have like such like short-term memory, because there's archival footage of Joe Biden lying about his past over and over and over again, and people be like, "Oh no, Joe's a great guy, a man of character, a man of integrity." It's like,
yeah, he's a man of character, okay.
Yeah, a lot of characters. Yeah, coal miner, a working class guy, bereaved father and husband.
That part is actually pretty tragic. But
yeah, okay, yeah. I don't mean to shit on him for that, but he goes to that well way too often.
Well, no. Here's the despicable part of that, though, is that the guy that the driver that was in the accident with his wife and like his kids.
Yeah, his daughter, I believe it was.
He was not drunk, and he actually fell into it. That driver felt so guilty about what happened. It was just a bad accident. It really was nobody's fault. and he felt so guilty, and he was actually in a huge depression until the end of his life. As soon as that guy died, Biden ended up spinning like, oh, he was a drunk and all this stuff, and made it. And I was like, wow, what a dick.
Well, I mean, yeah.
This
Well,
guy
yeah.
turned
But
around.
that. What is it? But what is it? The way he touts his son Bo. Like.
He was a war hero.
Yeah, exactly. But he died of fucking colon cancer in like fucking Bellevue or Bethesda.
He did not go to fucking war. This guy fucking turned around and wanted to. There was when the 13 Americans died from. When the 13 Americans passed away from the IED from the VBID that happened and everything, or I'm sorry, the suicide bomber, a couple weeks back. I'm not gonna lie, it tears me up. It really pisses me off.
Of course. You're only
The
human.
president, he was down. He was at an airport. Um, there was another American soldier. He was retired. Um, he was talking to him and everything. He wanted to ask him a question, Joe Biden a question. So he was sitting there asking Biden a question and everything, and it happened to be of why he was leaving the American people that were still over there stranded in Afghanistan. Why he was leaving them there.
Mm-hmm.
And the guy turned around, and after Biden constantly trying to dodge this man's question, the man turned around and said, you know what, you're a fucking coward. Use my language, you're a coward. And the guy, he was very, very ticked off.
Yeah.
Because I served overseas. This gentleman served overseas, and
Yeah, he lost his kid.
And then next thing you know, Biden turns around and he goes, I know I've lost myself. My son died overseas. And the guy turned around and looked right at him and said, no, your son died in America.
Yeah, in a plush hospital bed, hooked up to like the very best, equipment and best medicine available.
And this was one of the things that threw me off is the guy he sat there and said that Biden was one who sat there and said on another platform that his son Bo was one of the guys that was over there when Saddam Hussein was taken into custody.
Jesus Christ.
Right. Yeah. I mean, he didn't say that. Okay. Yeah. He didn't say that his son was part of the team that got him, but he worded it in a way to where people are led to believe that his son was part of the team that captured Osama bin Laden, and that's just all kinds of fucked up.
And to me, you want to sit here and the one thing that really ticked me off was, I watched the news footage of when they were bringing, the fallen soldiers home, and he was there, and oh boy, instead of standing there at attention, he's looking down at his watch.
Yeah, and people say like, oh, that was just one clip that we saw, and like it did, and it could be understood like he wasn't really looking at his watch. He could have been like looking down, but it's like, fucker, he raised his wrist and looked down.
Yeah,
and then like immediately when he felt like he was getting caught, he like switched it real fast and like clasped his arms and hands in front of him. But the story. But the story was then substantiated by other witnesses, other Gold Star families who said the exact same things. Like it wasn't even for like that one casket, but they were like saying like, yeah, for every single casket, he stopped and looked down at his watch.
Yeah.
And I don't know, like call me an idiot, but I'm gonna give a little credence to the people that just lost their loved ones to this confirmed liar. confirmed
was a
liar
lot
of Joe Biden, or the mainstream media, or Jen Psaki. I'm not. Call me crazy, but I'm gonna take their word for it that they saw what they saw. I'm not.
Yeah.
And there was a lot of members of of those fallen soldiers who Biden treated actually very terribly.
Yeah.
And we came out and said that it's like, what an asshole, essentially.
Yeah, like
I
just
mean,
like talking over them, just trying to make it about himself, and it's like, oh, bringing up his son again, it's like, oh yeah, my son Bo's like, well, motherfucker, like, they like he didn't once like ask him, or Biden never once like stopped to ask him about like their kid. It's like, oh, what was your son or what was your daughter like,
But here's the crazy part: is the one thing that a lot of news media outlets didn't post, in which I know it sounds crazy, but you know, here lately, if they've been Trump has been making new Instagram pages and stuff because his keeps on getting shut down.
yeah, like he's shadow banned basically.
Yeah,
Well, at least
he
like on Twitter, like he's banned outright. But yeah, Instagram, like, yeah, I checked it out. I was on Instagram the other night, and I follow his son, Junior, and then I
he
was like,
yeah.
going to their houses,
yeah,
and it was like,
yeah, and like, I think all of them invited Trump to the funeral.
yep,
Yeah, like I think I'm not gonna say, I can't be certain about if it was all of them, but if it was, I wouldn't be surprised if it was. But yeah, I think a lot of the families invited Trump to the funeral, and Biden did. None of the families, I'm sure none of the families are going to, but none of the families that, at least that I know of, have invited Biden to the funeral.
Yeah.
no,
Well,
I know the Corman's family. I know they didn't invite Biden because that was actually on Fox News.
Right. Yeah, because I believe like the sister like got like pretty much like confronted Biden like straight up to his face, like, you're the reason why my brother's dead.
Yeah.
Get the fuck away from me.
Yep, that was actually caught on camera.
well, speaking of that too, like this is where this kind of like merges into our
Yeah, this dovetails into the second topic.
Everything kind of like it's merging. It's merging. But this is our Joint Chiefs. Like our military right now is in trouble. Like it's frustratingly in trouble. Like I am, the stuff that is happening in our top brass of the military is so infuriating. As and I really don't like to call myself a veteran. Yeah, even though yes, technically I am one. Like, to me, David is a real veteran. I just happened to be in the military at one point.
So yeah, so you basically like lived through it, and didn't get a scar.
Yeah, I was not in combat.
Yeah.
I consider myself a real veteran, and I always defer to guys like David or Peter, who've been on this podcast. They're actual veterans. They went into battle, and they saw.
Or Daryl.
Daryl's another one. He was in Vietnam, and he went through. All these guys went through a lot of crap, and in some ways, they're not really over it either. And I consider those guys. I have a lot of respect for Dave. I have a lot of respect for Peter and Daryl, and so I consider those guys real veterans. But I was at one time a member of the military, and it is frustrating as hell to watch these pussies are leading our Army and Navy and Marines right now. Everything that comes out of that General Milley's mouth, it just
Hey,
infuriates me.
don't forget the Air Force, because I think the Air Force was leading the charge in the pussification.
Oh,
Remember,
well,
there was that general who came after like the supposed airman, or like Air Force Academy candidate, found like that note saying, because he was a black guy, he was like saying something disparaging about him because he was black, and then what is it? That Air Force general came out and was like saying like, yeah, like hate doesn't belong in the Air Force or some such
Oh God.
nonsense.
Ugh.
But I as being the only civilian or non-military participant in the group tonight. Yeah, just in terms of like, because I've had really bad superiors, like managers and things like that. And I understand like what a bad leader is, or bad manager, or bad manager of people looks like and sounds like. And for sure, Mark Milley is one of them. Mark Milley is
the worst.
is not a leader of men. He's not. He's not a leader. He's a fucking politician.
Well, that's
When-
the problem.
Yeah,
me and Rob-
which does, because I did learn something today about Mark Milley, and I shared it with you with the group prior to going live. But yeah, Mark Milley, he never went to West Point. Like he never went to he probably went to OSC, Officer Candidate School. But yeah, he graduated from Princeton and then went to Columbia for his master's.
Jesus Christ! It's just
So yeah, Mark
that
Milley,
explains so much.
yeah, I mean, especially Columbia. Like Columbia is like, I mean, at this point, Columbia used to be a really good school. People used to go there for to become educated, or to gain some skill. But now it's just a joke. Columbia is just it's the biggest gender studies program school in the nation.
Yeah, like
'cause-
95% of our colleges that we have in our country are a joke. It's just like they're not actually learning anything. We have the most credentialed people who know jack shit.
Let's go to college and party, dude.
Yeah, and
Yeah,
it's.
I mean, if I went to a party school, then it'd be worth it. But
Well, then-
I went to I mean, I kind of did go to a party school light because I went to art school. So I just finger painted. I just finger painted all day.
This. Let me ask y'all this, okay? You have a doctor from the Philippines who comes to the United States, right?
Mm-hmm.
How is it that a doctor from the Philippines comes here legally, does what they need to do in order to keep their credentials for here, but yet they're a second-rate doctor that can't get a job besides opening their own clinics like they had back in the Philippines, but yet you can go to that doctor instead of going to a doctor that went to Harvard and get better medical care from that Filipino doctor than what you would get from the damn Harvey Lee or the Ivy Lee doctor. You get better medical care from the Filipino.
Yeah, that's the crazy thing.
Yeah,
And-
no, I just give me a back room Filipino doctor any day.
Yeah, no lie. Going off of what y'all said about General Milley and stuff, that dude. I'm sorry, but if I would have had one of my higher ups look at me and tell me to, hey, listen, the Taliban's taken over. We need to shovel trash and clean up the area.
Oh yeah, like that. The ultimate insult was that right before
Yes.
right before the last pullout of troops, they had to fucking clean all the toilets on the base on the bases or whatever.
I would have told them to go fuck themselves. If you wanna
Yeah.
come to me, like go fuck off. I'm getting the fuck out of here.
I had a gentleman that me and Rob worked with at my first command. When he got out, when he retired, he was a chief. When we knew him, he was an HM1. Totally.
Yeah.
HM1 totally. This man, he was a godsend. Andy,
He was great.
you wouldn't have believed this guy was in the military.
Oh yeah.
He would, if he seen me outside sweeping the deck, this dude would walk outside, take his blouse off, and he would grab a broom and sweep with me.
Oh yeah. Nice.
He was
Yeah.
an everyman.
Those are the kind of leaders that those are the kind of leaders that you'll follow into battle with. It's because
yeah,
they'll get in the shit with you.
right. And then I had I don't this man this dude saved my life.
Yeah.
When I was in Iraq, it was I got to pin him staff sergeant the night he passed away, but he was a very good man, and him and Gunnery Sergeant Duncan and Gunnery Sergeant Fish from Fish was from 3rd Battalion, 3rd Marines. Gunnery Sergeant Duncan was from the Amphibious Assault Vehicle Unit from Camp Pendleton. Both men. Neither one of them passed away, but they were both very good men. My staff sergeant and everything, all three of them were this kind of men that were, lead by example. It was,
those are always the best.
If I tell you I'm, for you to do something, I'll do it my damn self too. And it was just, Staff Sergeant Davis, he was one of those guys. And it was just, hell, I needed help. I didn't even know the man. It was just, he was there. And he'd always tell me, Doc, if I tell you to do something, I'm going to be right there with you, shoulder to shoulder. And he was. So, trust me, this General Milley is not that dude.
No. I mean, yeah, and it's like,
he's a frat boy, like I said beforehand, and I'll say it again, and if anybody wants to come knock on my door because, I'm being too much of an asshole, or he wants to personally come to my door, please do. You can find me. I don't care. Come knock on it, sit on my couch, we can talk about it, and I'll still call you an asshole. But guess what? You were a frat boy at the party with a double-sided dildo, both heads sticking up the same end. Sorry, but not sorry.
Yeah.
The only reason why you got the way that you were was because you were riding the coattails of somebody else.
Yeah, he kissed all the right asses. Which is definitely the case. Because a man like that, he could only have gotten to his position if he kissed all the right asses.
Oh, he sucked a lot of colon.
Oh, he sucked up a lot of brown eye. I'm gonna tell you that now.
Yeah, but yeah, it's like it shouldn't have been that surprising because, especially after like the St. John incident, where he cleared out the park, whatever, so Trump could have his photo op. He went out next day and like apologized and it's like, I shouldn't have done that and I'm sorry and it's like, okay, but then it got confirmed because he went on to like that thing about white rage and it was funny because he was actually interrupting Secretary of Defense Austin because they were asking him
correctly. Didn't he got reprimanded by Trump for doing that?
Oh yeah, the apology, yeah. Oh yeah. Because above all else, Trump. What is it? Trump expects loyalty, from his people, and I mean, who doesn't? But Trump specifically is an animal that's like wired to like he expects loyalty, and Milley stabbed him in the back. And so, yeah.
And even if like he wants loyalty, but at the same time, he is the commander in chief. Milley falls under this guy, and you have to, and unless like you're saying like kill all babies or something, something crazy like that, where it's like we're not gonna follow that order, but like he is your military. You're what he's like was he a 2 or 3 star general or 4?
No, he's 4.
He's a 4-star general.
4-star general.
He still falls under the United States president. That's his.
Well, under the system. Yeah, under the system that we created, the
But
military is subservient to the
And
civilian
yet he
authorities.
is gone rogue, and he is like, he doesn't want to, follow Trump's commands. He doesn't want to follow the president's commands, like, because why? It's just
Yeah.
it's
Well, I mean, he committed treason by making that phone call to his Chinese counterpart.
yeah.
Everyone freaked out about a phone call that Trump made to like the Ukrainian president, but no one says jack shit when Biden made that call to the president of Afghanistan saying, like, hey, don't let it on that we fucked up royal on this pullout, or General Milley telling. I mean, yes, technically not our enemy, but our enemy that say, "Hey, don't worry. If Trump orders me to attack you guys, I'm not gonna do it. We're good." It's just like, are you fucking kidding me? If it was any other time, Mark Milley would have already been shot by now.
yeah, well, see, there's one thing that I actually I didn't know earlier, but I found out before I got on the call with Robert and stuff.
Mm-hmm.
Is there was actually it's called the Goldwater Nicholas Act, and it was invoked in 1986.
Mm-hmm.
And the joint, and it actually states in there, it's actually really good. They don't have operational command authority, and
Oh,
that's
the
what I,
generals.
yeah, the Joint Chiefs of Staff and stuff. They don't have
Mm-hmm.
operational command authority and stuff. And a lot of people sit here and it's like, oh, we got to listen to them. They're the higher authority and shit. And I'm gonna tell you now, like everybody sees in all these different war movies and everything like that about how, um, how can I say it? They show all the time where it's, oh, you got, or like take for example, you got, I guess the best one that I can compare this to is the movie Armageddon with Bruce Willis.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
He's up in outer space, and the commander turns around, and they start the nuke, and he's got the operational drill card, and Bruce Willis walks up to him and was like, "Oh, so you're going to listen to somebody that's like 12 billion miles away from us, and instead of trying to stop this,
Yeah.
and to me, if I'm overseas in Iraq or Afghanistan or whatever, and I've got somebody 5 feet away from me telling me, "Hey, Doc, this ain't a good thing, man. We need to get out of here." I'm sorry, I'm not going to listen to somebody that's 150,000 miles away from me going, "No, you're going to stay right there, and you're going to protect that ground, and you're not going to give it up." And if it's me versus, or me and three other guys versus, 75 pissed off Taliban, well, guess what, Mr. Taliban,
Yeah.
bring me a banana. I'm going to fuck home.
Yeah. Yeah.
You know,
You're gonna bug out of there. Cause you're
I'm
good.
taking a camel and I'm gone.
Yeah.
But
What is it?
if it was me and like 40 Marines versus 75 Taliban, I like my odds.
You're right. Yeah. Yeah. Exactly. Yeah.
Yeah, right.
So
But yeah, it's really disheartening that, like, you have these guys that do have a lot of power, but they're essentially politicians too.
yeah,
They're
Yeah. I mean, yeah. A
and
lot
we're
of
all
like,
waiting
yeah, a
for,
lot of the flag or higher up officers in the military, they're pretty much like politicians, and
in a lot of
they
ways they're
and they played the
glorified.
game. And I mean, we'll get into this in the Patton movie, but yeah, like in the movie, Patton starts realizing that too, where Patton is from a different era, he's cut from a different cloth, and he is trying his damnedest not to be a political animal, but like more and more he's realizing that politics is also part of the job that he wants to do. Well, I mean, particularly now, or particularly at the at during his time. that he was in.
I am not gonna lie. I do, you guys know as well as I do, is today's generation is not like it was back then. And I know everything has to grow and evolve and everything like that. But when it comes to certain aspects of protecting your home, protecting your country, you know, these guys, like Millie, he, what was it, 1945, I think he was born or something like that.
Yeah. He's not even part. He's not technically. I think he's a boomer. They'll make him a boomer. He's
Yeah.
not. He wasn't part of the Greatest Generation. Yeah.
Yeah.
He's a boomer.
But, he grew up during that time. He grew up during the time of, people getting kicked in the face by their drill sergeants and, all that crap. And, you know,
Hmm.
I've witnessed, recruits coming to the, aid stations and stuff at clinics because their drill sergeants are, hitting them with the stocks of the weapons, and, you know, and it's like, hey, how'd you get that bruise? This recruit fell, sir. And it's like, okay,
Yeah, just
did you
rub some dirt
fall?
on it and get back out there.
Did you fall or did somebody butt stroke you? No, sir, I fell on my weapon. You were trying to make love to the buttstock of the weapon? Yes,
Yeah.
sir. Roger that, man.
All
Get
right.
your ass out of here and go on.
Oh,
And then you got the drill instructor standing there at the door. Did he give you any information on how this incident happened? No, Sergeant. All right, good. We can go back. What the hell? You know,
uh,
I don't know what kind of, and RDCs that Robert had, but I had Faust, Gillithrope, and then I had, Faust was a TM1. Um, Gillithrope was a OS, and then I had my female chief, which she was a freaking yeoman.
Oh God.
She, Chief Thrim, man, she was awesome, dude. He hated other females, and I was in an integrated platoon.
Oh
I
yeah.
was
I didn't see. I didn't have that. I wasn't in one of those.
We were the first integrated platoon.
Jesus.
wow.
So, yes, it was very hard and it was very difficult because this woman didn't give a crap. She was like, I hate the other females. I'm just going to go ahead and tell you that now, and this is the way it's going to be. They were a lot harder on us than what I went. I got sick, so I had to go train one time with an all male platoon.
Uh-huh.
And I'm going to tell you right now, I would have preferred to be switched from the platoon I was with to the all male platoon.
It's so much easier, dude.
It was so much easier. When I got back, it was literally like when they say, we were rocks,
Hmm.
like Robert, you probably know what I'm talking about. You know the IT card?
Yep.
We knew that by heart.
Yep.
They could, they could snap their fingers, clap, and we knew exactly which round to go to.
Same here. It's like the fucking Dirty Dozen. Like
Yeah.
Jenny. Like the.
But these guys nowadays, and I'm not saying that, you know, I personally or Robert had it or, anybody that I went through boot camp with or after had it easier than the guys that came before us. Because I'm gonna tell you right now, me
Those are
personally,
ones that are crazy fucking shit.
ain't no way in hell I'd be able to go through what they went through years ago because somebody would have hit me in my face. I would have fought back.
Same. Same.
I might have got my ass handed to me by the instructor, but I'd at least fought back. But these guys nowadays, like um the girl I grew up with this, a friend of mine, she went on to go into the Air Force. They
Okay.
had stress cards, dude.
What?
Stress
They
cards.
had stress cards.
Stress cards? What the fuck
Stress
is
cards.
that?
All right, so basically what it is, and I found out about this after I got out, or it was about a year or two before I got out. A stress card is basically where, say, like you get too overwhelmed.
Oh Jesus.
I had like strategies to help you like calm yourself down and.
No, no, no. Oh hell no.
God,
I
this sounds like some liberal bullshit.
like literally it's a stress card where like all right, for example, soccer. In the game of soccer, you pull up a yellow card, right?
Mm-hmm.
And the player gets a penalty or whatever.
Yeah.
The recruit literally pulls out of their left breast pocket a stress card and they hold it up and they get a timeout for like 15 to 20 minutes.
Jesus Christ.
What the fuck?
Nobody can talk to them. You they can their RDCs or drill instructors or whatever. Hey, what's going on? Yeah,
What the
they
fuck?
What the
have the
what in the literal hell is this bullshit? What this is
like
this is the most fucked up timeline
well here,
ever.
listen to this. Um I've watched like I've seen, I know everybody watches TikTok and everybody's like, oh, you can't believe everything that you see. I've had friends of mine turn around and join the army. Well, they're friends of my wife's because she's
Mm.
quite a few years younger than I am. Um, Friend of hers turned around and joined the army, and this dude literally, and his girlfriend literally walks around with their cell phones. Like they take videos of everything that they do.
God.
What the- It's
Like
called
they
living in the
make
moment, people. Yeah, I hate that shit. When people like when I'm like back before everything was shut down, but like at concerts and things like that. I'd be there just like kind of enjoying everything, but everyone like I see like a cell phones like up in the air like recording the performance and like they're watching it through the screen,
the yeah.
and I'm just like, why did you pay the money to be here and watch the person live when you're just gonna watch it like through your screen, your phone? You
I
might
mean,
as
I
well
always
just
do like I always do like a few pictures, like maybe like before and after. But like, if I'm at a concert or a game or whatever, like I'm watching the game. Like I'm watching the concert. Like why I paid good money to be here.
Now, I'm
right,
not gonna,
yeah.
I ain't gonna lie to you. Now, if I get now, I will. I'll take a couple pictures. I'll take a video or two or send it to whoever. But as far
Right,
as
but
taking on my phone and watching the band or watching the game through the video of my phone, I don't do that shit. If I get bored, I'll sit my butt down, pull up a game on my phone, play for like 5 or 10 minutes, be like, okay, I'm gonna finish watching whatever wherever I'm at. But these kids, man, they turn around and it's like, they TikTok drill. They got their drill sergeants who are, matter of fact, one of the ones I was watching the other day. She's an actual drill sergeant in um was it Fort Bragg, and she literally like does TikToks with her recruits.
Oh
oh
God. Can we just
yeah,
bring back like Full Metal Jacket and Arlie Ermy, like just
I
treating his
know.
recruits like
So,
shit?
Sergeant Hartman. Let's get some more Sergeant Hartmans,
Ooh.
up in the military.
That's honestly
Yeah, have they?
that's the guy that I want because I know I'm in good hands. Yeah, he's an asshole, but fuck it. Like I
Yeah,
want that guy.
yeah. I mean, have
I
these instructors ever not heard of the old saying, familiarity breeds contempt?
I had my TM1 told us one time. He said, "Look here." He said, "I'm gonna give you the biggest, friendliest advice I can give you. I'm not your friend.
Yeah.
I'm
Well,
I'm
duh.
I am not your friend. I'm here to train you."
Exactly. I didn't want her to
What
be my friend.
he said, and then I look at you, and then he looked at all of us and he told us, he goes, "I will tell you this, and you can incorporate this any which way you want. I hate everybody equally, and it does not matter if you're friend or family or close acquaintance. I hate everybody equally. So that's my advice to you."
Mm-hmm.
And, to this day, that man, as skinny as a fucking chicken that he was, I went to boot camp weighing 185 pounds, and that scrawny little bastard motivated me to lose 20 pounds.
Wow. That's what's up.
And yeah, I left boot camp. I went into boot camp, I was 185. I left boot camp weighing 157.
Whoa, dude.
And that was because he motivated me so much to not care. It wasn't the simple fact of not caring about what other people thought. It was the whole
Uh,
fact of, I've got to get the job done. He's there to teach me. He's not there to be my friend, but there to guide me. And
That's why I took it too, because like that's how you survive, man. Like
he
that's.
would get he would get on, like, you remember the inside track
Mhm.
that we ran and stuff for PT or for the
Mhm.
PRTs and stuff at boot camp?
Sure. Yep.
Well, he would literally get he would we would all start running, and he would wait a good 5 minutes before he started running,
mm.
and he would run up behind me and go, "Okay, fat boy, come on, fat boy, come on, fat boy, come on, fat
Um,
out, let's go."
That
You
was
know,
actually that was one of the things that I could beat everybody in boot camp is I could outrun everybody because I was in cross country before I went in, and so everyone's like, "Oh my god, the running's hurting me." It's like I was like, "What?" Like we're only a mile in. Like it's only a mile. Like I used to run like 10 miles a day. Like come on, like let's.
yeah, but see, I was not, before I left for boot camp, I was not told. I was told, hey, yeah, get into shape. You got to sit up some push ups. There's going to be some running. But, I knew that there was a PRT from when I was in ROTC back in high school.
Yeah.
mm.
And, because we did the PRT back in high school. But I always made it. But I couldn't do it for the sake, man, I couldn't. If somebody had a gun pointed towards me, I literally made it with 5 seconds to spare to
Wow.
pass my last one that I needed.
Mm.
Yeah.
And whenever I passed and I fell, you know, Tia1, Faust, he was right there. He said, "Blake, come on, Seaman, get up." And I looked at him and I said, "I'm not a seaman. I'm a recruit." And he said, "No, actually, you're a seaman. Congratulations, you passed boot camp. Now you just got to
Wow.
pass battle stations." And he was the one who actually gave me my Navy cap whenever I went through battle stations and stuff.
No, that's
So,
awesome.
so he was a very good man.
Yeah. Yeah, it was a fun time in my life. I really enjoyed being in the Navy. There was a lot of times it was a huge pain in the ass, but fuck, dude, like I actually really cherished that time.
And he's like, "I'm ready to get to the movie."
Well, that's why don't we do that? Why don't we get to the movie? Because it's
Yeah.
more military fun. So
Yeah. All right. Quick synopsis for the movie Patton. Biography of controversial World War II hero General George S. Patton. The film covers his wartime activities and accomplishments, beginning with his entry into the North African campaign and ending with his removal from command after his outspoken criticism of U.S. post-war military strategy.
This was like one of my grandfather's favorite movies. I think we've actually covered quite a few of my grandfather's favorite movies. We're doing Patton. He loved Lawrence of Arabia.
Mhm.
What was the other? There was like one of the other ones we've done too, like where he was always constantly quoting like these movies,
Mhm.
and Patton is one of those, and I think that this is probably George C. Scott's most famous performance. I think everyone knows
Probably,
George
yeah.
C.
I mean,
Scott from this
yeah,
movie.
yeah. I mean, whether or not they actually know who George C. Scott is, they know this performance.
I mean, he is Patton in a lot of
Yeah.
ways. Though,
Mhm.
I mean, his voice is much more gravelly than Patton's actually is.
Mhm.
Patton was a little bit more high pitched, had a little bit of a different voice, but George C. Scott really embodied Patton very well.
Yeah,
Oh,
I
he
think yeah, I
did.
think George C. Scott does he captured the spirit that
Oh,
that
absolutely.
was within Patton.
And this movie has arguably one of the greatest opening scenes in a movie ever. I mean, had this actually had I been listening to this speech, I would have run through a wall for that man.
Hmm.
That
Uh,
is true. I
Very
would have done the
inspirational.
same thing. I ain't gonna lie.
the idea of it's like, nobody won a war for by dying for their country. You win a war by making the other guy die for their country. It's
Yeah.
we're not holding anything. We're always constantly going to advance. Let the damn Huns, the Germans, they hold the position. We're going to advance. We're going to kick their ass.
Yeah,
We're gonna shoot them in the belly.
that's
Hmm.
right.
You guys might be afraid that are you gonna be too scared to do it? It's like, don't worry about it. Like the courage is gonna come. Damn, dude. Like I would have run through a
Coming
wall
till
for that
slap
guy.
the shit out of you.
Yeah. Well, in a lot of ways, even though I mean that's part of the reason why they called them Old Blood and Guts, because like there was that one scene
It was
where
his,
it's like,
it
yeah,
was his
our
guts,
blood,
but it
his
was
guts.
everybody else's blood.
Yeah.
Hmm.
And this is a movie. Patton is a complicated guy. He is a very intelligent, crazy person,
Let
but
me here. I can help you out, Robert. Patton. He's he's a certifiable nut job, but he's a beautiful genius at the same time when it comes to military tactics. You know, he was born in 1885. He died in 1945. Um, and of all things, to skip some, what he died from, which helped him out, was he got hit by a car. There was a vehicular accident
yeah. So
that led.
Hmm.
there's a conspiracy that someone murdered him, but yeah, he died in a car accident.
Yeah, he was in Germany whenever it happened, and he ended up being paralyzed. And 12 days after he got hit by the car, he ended up having a pulmonary edema.
Yep.
Hmm.
So he ended up dying in his sleep as well. Which there's a lot of conspiracy theories out there that says that the reason why he was hit because of political gain from the U.S., um, which may or may not be true. I don't know. But
No
this
one
man,
knows. Yeah.
he was literally he was a genius. When they say, you know, getting ahead of your enemy, this dude literally knew how to do it.
I mean, because in the movie, one of the first battles is against the Rommel in Africa,
Yeah,
and he was studying like the books that Rommel wrote about tank warfare.
Yeah, he
I mean,
was
Mhm.
leading what 304th tank brigade over there, and ended up using Bergamo's own tactics against him.
Yeah.
yeah. This guy studied warfare. I mean, the guy was a history buff. He
Yeah.
constantly studied, he studied the Romans, he studied the Carthaginians, he studied, the Normans, he studied Napoleon, he studied everybody that like he could get anything off of. Sun Tzu, I'm guarantee he studied Sun Tzu
Yeah, he read Sun Tzu for sure.
easily.
So,
And the guy, like, he was always studying. He was a constant student, which made him so brilliant. And the thing, what makes him kind of crazy is like when we started off, like, David was talking about how, he believed in reincarnation. Like really believed that he had lived his entire all these past lives as a soldier. Like when
no,
talking about
no,
like
the
the
first one when he went to that battlefield,
yeah
the general looked at him and was like, "Well, how do you know this?" And he was like, I was here, um, but I wasn't a soldier. I was a poet."
yeah
And he was a
Mm.
very Patton. Nobody understands that Patton. Yes, even though he's a nut. He's fucking psychotic when it comes to military genius. He
Yeah.
was a very deeply romantic man.
Well,
He
Patton's unique in that he was a bit of a Renaissance man because
Yeah, he was
yeah
very
he wrote poetry. He again like he was a historian. But
yeah.
he was also an athlete. He was actually in one. He was actually an Olympian.
yeah
Yeah, I was just about to
Um,
say he was an Olympian, wasn't he?
yeah. He was. I think like one of the ones in like in the teens in the 19 like tens or somewhere within that
one of the
decade.
very early modern Olympics. He was
Yeah. And
Yeah, he did.
one of his events was like shooting, and I want to share this one anecdote. Um, like I don't know if it was in the Olympics, but or some other competition, but he was either a pistol shooter or shooting a rifle.
I
But
think
what was that?
I think it was pistol.
Okay, probably yeah. That makes more sense. But anyways, so the target was downrange, and each person was allowed 10 shots. And he got him like he got a pretty good grouping on it, but he didn't win first place because there were only nine. There were not only 9 holes in the paper, and he protested and he said, "Oh, the only reason why there's 9 holes is because 2 bullets went through the same hole."
yeah.
Trust me, I would believe that.
That
I
is
believe that is something he would do.
Yeah. So yeah, he was that kind of man, and like he what is it? He also standardized the sword used in the cavalry because
Yep.
what was it? I think the army was trying to decide whether or not to use a straight blade or a curved blade, and Patton I think pushed for the curved blade, which obviously makes more sense because a curved blade, as 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 kind of like when you're riding through some people, you want to be able to slice through someone quickly, and of course
Yeah.
the curved blade gives you the advantage.
Through what was it? I know um when he was in the Mediterranean and everything, he did a lot of um fighting over in Africa and
Hmm.
what was the other place? It was to
Morocco.
Sunny.
Oh,
yeah.
Um
He was in Tuscany, like he was in Italy a
Tunisia.
lot.
yeah, and then he did oh god, what was that other place? And damn it.
He like he took over Palermo.
Yeah.
Drove
Well, yeah, that's
fortified
Italy.
Messina, and obviously later on he was in like in the European campaign. But
Yeah,
like
but he
a
took
lot of
he took right
his
care
early
of
stuff was in during World War II was Africa and like in Italy.
Well, and we're when he came up with the idea for the saber and stuff for the army and or from the cavalry and stuff, it was from one of the groups that he fought against overseas.
Yeah.
Right. Yeah. I'm sure he was influenced by the Bedouins or like some Arabs that he faced,
Yeah.
which they do use curved blades.
Oh yeah.
So yeah, he was probably influenced by that, and saw
But
like the efficiency of
yep.
their weapons.
I will say this though is Patton, what was it? He started his service in 1909 and finished it up in to the day he died in 1945. So that's
Hmm.
36 years of service, man. And he passed away when he was 60 years old. Think
Yeah.
half of your life, more than half of your life, you're in service to your country, and even a lot more of that, you're out overseas away from your family.
Right. Yeah. Like you're in
You know,
country. You're away from your family. Um,
hell, matter of fact, what was it? He married his wife in 1910,
mhm.
and she what was it? I think it was like after they married, he left. He went over. He went
Oh
overseas to
yeah,
golf.
and he just like didn't
Like,
come back.
Yeah.
oh crap, you're back.
Yeah. Sorry.
But it was Patton, man. He was. I I'm not gonna lie to you. I'd have loved to serve with him just to see what he was like in person.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Um, he what was that? After he Where was that battle at, Robert? It was that when he fought Rommel. That was in Tuscany, right?
Yeah,
No,
Tunisia.
that was still in North Africa. So that was
Yeah,
like
yeah,
that was
Tunisia.
yeah, that was in North Africa.
Yeah, when they walked into that tent and he was talking, he was seeing the wounded. That was one of the things that I did respect. And that I still respect out of any higher ranking officer that is in battle, um, that goes and sees the wounded and talks to them. See how they're doing, if there's anything that they need. And
Yeah.
Pat, man, I'm gonna tell you what, that dude was something else. Um, that one fella, he was on the ventilator with the gauze around
Yeah,
his
the
face.
bandage. Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Yeah, yeah,
Well, and I say you felt like, and because this is real. This was something that Patton would do.
yeah,
Is he was, yeah, he was a hard man, but at the same time, people who like gave sacrifice and did and got hurt in battle, he respected them.
oh
He
yeah,
was yeah, and he knew that like Patton was taking a lot of risks,
yeah,
but he trusted his men that they were gonna fight for him because he would do the same thing. They know that Patton was gonna do the same thing, and they're like, okay, our general, he's behind us, and he'd be here right with us, and we're gonna fight just like he would.
but that,
And when they would get hurt in battle, like genuinely get hurt, Patton hurt. Like it felt like it was
right,
almost like he got shot or he got like injured
Right.
really badly,
Yeah,
and
I mean,
he the way George C. Scott portrayed that, like you felt like he hurt with that guy on the
mhm.
ventilator. We don't hear what he said to him, but
Yeah,
he genuinely was, he felt for that
yeah,
man.
yeah.
He was
Patton
afraid for
seemed to
him.
be like the commander, where it's like he loved his men, but he didn't care if his men loved him.
no. When I sat there and I watched this movie on Sunday, and I watched a little bit of it yesterday as well to catch to
Yeah,
make
kind of
sure I got
refresh.
some of
Yeah.
the yeah. But you know, I I get triggered. I have my own PTSD and everything like that from being overseas. But when I sat there and I watched that movie again, and even on the first time, and I watched George Scott bend down, whispering to the gentleman, weeping. I'm a grown ass man. I sat there and I cried too.
Dude,
Mm.
that's the thing. I cried too. Like it's a very touching scene.
But then,
Mhm.
but then what
Indeed.
what made me stop crying was the fact that when you know George Scott stood up and as he was patting, he stood up, placed Purple Heart down, pinned it on the pillow. They put they put the veil around the foot of the bed. Um, and then he walked to the private that was sitting there, and he's got his head down and he's like, "No, I can't do this no more. No, no, I can't do this no more." And Patton was like, "Soldier, what is your problem?"
Well, but see, so the progression of events, because it starts off where he initially there's a guy who got shot in the chest, and like he's recovering from that. It's like so it's like and it's like, hey, what happened to you? It's like, oh, I got a bullet wound to the chest, sir. And it's
Right.
like, and he sounds like, well, if it makes you feel any better, the last German I saw, he didn't have no chest. It's like, and it's like he didn't have a head either. It's like, and you just see like the grin that guy, he's like, and they had a connection. It's like, where are you
Right.
from, soldier? Where are you from, soldier? California, sir. I'm from California. It's like, and
Yeah,
it's kind of like they had this connection. I was like,
they had a
really
connection.
touching connection. And
Right.
then obviously then he had like the really touching scene with the guy that was on the ventilator who
Right.
probably is gonna die. I mean he's most likely gonna die.
Well, I think honestly, I think that's why they put the veil at the foot of his bed. I think that's what it was supposed to symbolize, is that he did pass away, and
Yeah.
I think that's the other reason why they gave that he put that Purple Heart down
And
too.
but he still like he still whispered something in his ear, even though like he probably didn't hear it because he was probably already dead. But the fact that like it was still a really touching scene.
Mm-hmm.
But then after that, you get to the private who's crying, and you think like, oh, maybe he's like, his friends are all here. He's sad. He's praying for them, and yeah, it's a sad scene. Like you're probably gonna cry, but he's
Yeah.
like, but when he's like, and initially when Patton bends down, he's like, what's the he actually was genuine in his care. It's like, what's the problem, son? Are you okay? He actually was genuinely like caring for him.
He was carefree. He was very caring at first,
Yeah,
but
and
when
then it's like, "I just can't take it anymore, sir. I'm scared." And he's like, "What?" And it's like,
that freaking switch flipped, and it was like smack, smack, smack. Get this pussy out of here.
it's
Get
like
him.
I don't want some yellow belly coward in here with these soldiers who have been wounded in battle.
Yeah.
Honorable mention.
These honorable soldiers. Get him the hell out of here. It's like you're going back to the front, son. You're gonna. It's like he flipped that switch, and it's like in
You
a
are
sense, like, you're like, fuck, dude, this is really bad.
and
But
him. He smacked this dude. I don't know how many times, because I was crying. Then like he went in, talked to this dude, and like as soon as he started yelling at him and started like Andy, I don't know if you've seen that part, but he just smacked the living hell
Yeah,
out
yeah,
of this
yeah. I saw
dude.
it.
and this really happened.
Like
This
good
event actually
man,
happened.
yeah, and you know it was like, and then they got to God, where did they get to after that fight? Um, where did they go, Robert? They went to that one. They took over the town, and then he got a letter from.
For Mike,
Yeah,
from
Yeah.
Eisenhower. Like
yeah,
the thing is like because Patton was he was such a braggadocious dick. Where but the thing is but the thing is he produced he was doing stuff. But the thing is, like guys like Ike and like a lot of like the American command, the English command, they couldn't stand the fucking guy, and they were looking for any reason to like take him down a couple notches.
right.
And when he slapped the shit out of that private, which really happened in real life,
Yes, it did.
and they're like, "This is it." And Ike initially gave him a letter saying that like you had to
Something like that either.
yeah, like Dwight Eisenhower gave him a personal letter that you have to apologize to all these people. But then they ended up it was kind of all bullshit because he ended up getting kind of he didn't like lose rank or anything, but he was sidelined, which that
Yeah,
they knew that that was going to hurt him way worse.
right. What happened? What it was it wasn't a letter to reprimand him in his personnel file. Um, it was actually a personal recommendation from Ike to apologize. And the funny thing is if you listen to the way the movie states about the letter, is that he was supposed to personally apologize to the private,
Which he never did in the
He never
movie, at
did.
least.
and he never did. He
I don't
apologized
think he
to
apologized to the guy in
everybody
real
else.
life either. I don't think that ever happened in real life either.
No, he apologized to everybody else. But
Yeah.
then in the movie, if you
Yeah, it's
really
like the when he addresses all the men, it wasn't a direct like apology. He never like really addressed like each
He
individual
wasn't
person.
sorry, and I don't think he should have been sorry.
no,
No, yeah, and he's like, and
he
he
did
like at the end of his address, he said like, "Oh, I hope you guys can take this explanation." It's like and apology, but it was mostly an explanation of why I did this.
right. But
Kind
then,
kind of like modern politics, where particularly I'm thinking not to compare Patton to Gavin Newsom, but it's like the apology that Gavin Newsom gave about like when the whole like French Laundry thing happened, and he was like, oh yeah, I'm sorry that this happened, but and I what is it? I demonstrated bad judgment in going to this,
Well, yeah, it's the
but
same idea. It's
the
a
same idea, yeah, exactly, the same idea. Not comparing the two men because one's a great man and the other's is a piece of shit. Um,
but
but
I think the
but like
funny
the spirit is kind of the same, where it's like I'm not sorry for what I did,
he wasn't
because I don't
sorry.
think I did anything
thing
wrong.
is the
But
fact that the guy's standing up in front, this private standing up in front,
uh,
waiting for his public apology,
yeah, but he never gets it.
and he never
Yeah, because like
gets
initially
the guy.
yeah, exactly, the private you kind of see like him kind of giving like this kind of disapproving like kind of like almost a scowl, but he's like,
Yeah,
okay, yeah, Patton's gonna get his comeuppance. He's gonna Patton's gonna apologize to me. The great Patton is gonna apologize to me. But then
right.
it's like but then he doesn't do it. He just ends up explaining his actions, and I think
So it's
uh
like he,
it
but
kind of
he
I
was
think in a weird
for
way he endeared himself more to his men.
like
Well, and even like when the he was showing that letter to his contemporary General Bradley, who played by Carl Malden. He was saying it's like the guy should have been tried for cowardice and shot. And that was
Yeah.
those were his real feelings.
but watching that scene, again, watching the apology and or not the apology, the explanation of why the private got slapped, to me, he he didn't even hint to an apology. He literally turned around and told the whole brigade that we have a coward in our midst. And he called him a coward like a couple of times, if I'm not mistaken, just to get his point across, and then turned his back and was like, "Oh yeah, thanks for letting me explain. I hope y'all can accept this explanation. Y'all have a good day. Dismiss."
Yeah.
But yeah, it's funny because even like when they were in that hospital, the doctors like came out in front of that soldier because it looked like he was gonna shoot the guy.
Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah. Well, yeah, he was he reached for his weapon, so like yeah, the doctor like like stepped in and was like, "What?" and like just, immediately got him out of there.
oh, he was gonna. I'm sure he would have
Yeah,
shot
but
him.
no, yeah, he would have. But yeah, this movie is really great. I think it does a really good job in you know providing like these vignettes, like like the incident with the soldier, um,
A bigger
or
part of the movie shows too is from firsthand experience myself is the fact of how politics. A lot of people think that politics don't play a part in
yeah,
you're overseas in a war.
Dude,
I went to Iraq in 2006, and the political game. We went from kicking in doors to knocking on the doors and asking if we can check their houses for insurgents or weapons
well,
of mass destruction.
mhm,
And my guys, I'll be the first ones to I will full heartedly admit, uh, we didn't do that. We got in trouble for it, but we were still kicking it. We were still kicking doors in. And we were walking in. And when I say weapons of mass destructions, I'm talking about like artillery shells that are bigger than a car tire.
right,
Landmines. And these guys are telling us, oh, we got to go and knock on the door and ask if they have a Durka Durka insurgent inside the house.
and give and potentially give the insurgent a chance to get
To
grab a
get out.
weapon and like
Right.
or like
And
and cause
to
harm to you guys. That's fucking
you know
ridiculous.
right. And to hear about the politics that still went on back in the day, even in World War I and World War II,
Mhm.
it's ridiculous because watching how this movie rolls out, and yes, I understand it's just a movie, but it is supposed to be factual events that took place during the wars and during Patton's life, but to have him, sidelined because of his, he was an outspoken general. Matter of fact, he was told that he went from a 2-star to a 3-star,
Mhm.
and he didn't even get the approval from the president or Congress in order to put his 3-star on. He just went ahead and put it on.
yep.
And that's how Patton was. Patton, he
Yeah,
get
Patton
told he
got
was
that
up
big dick
for promotion.
energy.
Yeah, he I'm up for promotion. Oh, okay.
Yeah, I'm
Go
gonna
ahead,
get it.
stars on.
It,
Yeah.
it, it's funny because the line from Carl Malden is General Bradley is like, I think your aides, like if you were in like the Turkish like army, like your aides would find like the right rank to like put on you like at a moment's notice,
Exactly.
which is it like I said, he's a braggadocious guy. Like, that's just how he is. But
Yeah.
at the same time, it's like you respect guys like that because
Mhm.
it wasn't he wasn't just puffing his chest. He backed up what he was doing.
Right.
Yeah.
And
Um,
to turn around and compare him, compare Patton to Millie, you know, you get you get guys nowadays who wish they could be a quarter of the man that Patton was,
shoot.
or uh, there's an old Marine. His name's Chesty Pooler. One of those fellas and stuff. Um, he, these guys, they they were literally the tip of the spear. Um,
Mm.
these guys could turn around. You tell them to take the line, and they're going to push past the line, and they're going to take more than the line because they know that is what they need to do. They know that there's a goal ahead of them, and that's where they need to get to. You know, Patton was not one of these guys who, oh, I'm all about showboating, and I want, he was more or less of, all right, we got to get to point A to point B to point C, and we got to take point D.
Yeah,
I got you.
we need
Let's
to
keep
get here
on.
by this time. Like, let's do
Yeah.
it.
Well,
And
yeah, because when what is it? When Patton took command of the Third Army, and like he was doing shit that like people thought that he couldn't do, or like he was doing shit that made like his like kind of like rival Montgomery look incompetent. Like
Right.
when he was fight, I forget where he was fighting, but then he was then like he didn't even wait for the order. He was like, oh, we're thinking about sending part of your division up to Bastogne to help out the 101st, and Patton just took off, and he got shit done.
Yep.
Well, and that's the thing. It's like right from the beginning of the movie, like with that speech that Patton gives, it's like we're holding nothing. We're always advancing, and that was the mistake of World War One. Is like there was all this holding. I mean, the whole war was holding. It's like that's bullshit. We're not doing.
Yeah, and I mean, there were,
Right.
it was not, World War One wasn't very mobile war. I mean, evidenced by just like the strategy of trench warfare. It's like there was no advancing. It's like you stay on your side of no man's land. We'll stay on our side of no man's land. We'll just shoot at each other.
Yeah.
And he was alive during that point, and like
Mhm.
he's been in battle for a long time. It's like we are holding nothing. We are advancing.
Mhm.
That is the goal.
Right,
And
ever
all
forward,
these
ever
guys that are like,
forward.
yo, we can't get to this point. It's like, well, you better fucking get to that point, or I'm gonna fire you, and we're gonna put someone in charge that can do this shit. And it's like we are advancing.
Yeah,
He
I
told
really, yeah.
he told the tank commander and stuff. He said, "Look here, you guys, y'all need to get y'all's AAVs across this water right here. Get to this point right here. Y'all need to be there by
Yeah,
this
and he
time."
did it. And it's like he did it. It's like, where the fuck are you doing? Like, get over here.
Like showed up in a jeep.
Yeah.
Like he literally like showed up in a jeep, and it's not because I'm not saying that because that's what happened in the movie. That's what happens in his autobiography too, because he wrote about all this crap in his autobiography, and he turned around and he said, "Look, I sh- I pulled up in a I pulled up in my jeep. They weren't standing there. I told the tank commander he had freaking 10 minutes to get across, or he was being fired. And the next guy that was a sergeant was getting promoted, and he would no longer have a job. Point blank, period. Get across the river. I
Yeah.
don't have time to play these games." Literally, he said, "Where'd you get across at?" He said, "A mile and a half down that way."
Yeah.
And
And
there's
like,
bombs going off behind them.
yeah, even in like the movie too, there's a whole scene where it's like they're trying to get across this bridge, and it's like, what's the holdup? It's like fucking donkeys, and he shot the fucking donkeys. Like, let's get them the fuck out of the way, and
Oh
we are
right, yeah, and
advancing.
and just prior, like German planes came and like strafed the convoy, and it's like, what the fuck is going on? And it's like, oh, we're being held up by these donkeys. Like, fuck these donkeys.
He shot him and he shoved him over.
Shot them and had the guys roll their asses over the bridge, fell in the water. And the guy's like, "What about my cart?" They run over his cart. They didn't
Yeah.
even drag it out of the way. They ran it over with the tanks.
It's just like and that I'm sure that happened in real life too.
Mm-hmm.
Well, I will say this is, when I deployed to Iraq, I didn't think I would ever like war is honestly what you make of it. There's some, stuff that I will tell people about. There's certain things that I keep in my head. But
Mm-hmm.
I think the funniest thing that we ever did as a platoon, um, we gave a family, like, no lie, no joking around. The colonel came over, told the family, "Hey, look, we need your house. We're gonna
Mm-hmm.
give you, I think it was like $50,000 American. You have 24 to 48 hours to get out of your house, and then we're coming to take it over." Period. They hadn't even left yet. It was literally, God, I think we pulled into the house. Um, they were, the guy was still packing his stuff. The wife, she was in the kitchen cooking.
Jesus.
The daughter was upstairs. The daughter was upstairs in the bedroom doing whatever the hell she was doing. The son was in the back taking a crap. Well, our 7-ton driver, okay, literally backed the 7-ton up into the kitchen. Like
God damn.
ran over the wall, did not give two rats asses. We jump out, we secure the house, and then next thing you know, the guy's like running around like a chicken with his head cut off, crying, "My house, my house, my house." We gave him $50,000. He shut up. Next thing you know, it was literally 2 nights later. We find insurgents 3 houses down from the house that we were in. You know,
Wow.
Yeah.
and and not to mention the fact that the guy that we took over the house from, guess what he was doing? He had harbored insurgents. So
Yep.
guess where he went? He got locked up too.
Yep.
And we took the money back. And then his house got flattened even more by a couple of tanks.
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
yeah, no,
So yeah,
this,
war's crazy.
yeah,
Shit happens in war.
the movie itself too, like one of the other like really great, because there's a lot of great scenes in the movie.
Mhm.
And obviously like nobody liked Patton. General Bradley didn't like him. I don't think Ike liked him. There was a lot of people who didn't like Patton, but he was effective, and that's why they used him.
I liked him only because he got shit done. I
Right.
don't think he liked him. But as far as anything else,
Well, I mean,
I
yeah, I mean,
like
even what is
for
it?
even in
The
in the
Germans even recognize Patton's brilliance, and they're like, you know,
oh yeah,
and like, and at least in the movie, they called him like their best, field commander, and like, when Patton was going to these countries, the Germans thought, oh shoot, the Americans are changing strategies, and they're gonna attack us from Egypt, and just because Patton
yep.
was going there for some non-war related business.
Well, yeah, that's right, and it's like no, and it's like, oh no, sir, like the papers are saying like he might even be court-martialed. Like they're not going to sideline their best. It's like they believed, like they didn't believe like the media, which
Hmm.
like
I know, kind of
maybe
prophetic.
Maybe
yeah,
they should have.
yeah, but no, the one of the couple of the great scenes, like one of them was the right before, like, yeah, as he's like in the European campaign, like it's winter, it's cold, and once again he's asking his troops to do the impossible, and
Mhm.
they get it done. And it's like there's like right around Christmas, like trying to like the weather sucks, and he has this chaplain come in. It's like, I need a good weather prayer. It's like, weather
Yeah.
prayer. And it's like, and he has him like write up this whole. It's like, and I want it within the hour. It better be damn good. It's like, but I think as much as he believed in like the reincarnation, and all that stuff,
Reincarnation.
he was
Yeah.
a dedicated Catholic too. Like
Hmm.
he really believed that. And it kind of brought me back to like another movie that we've reviewed on this podcast was We Were Soldiers. Is like, and when Mel Gibson's character is praying for his troops, and it's like, yeah, at the end he's like, and ignore their heathen prayers. It's like, it kind of felt like that same thing, yeah, where he's praying for good weather, and it's like,
Mhm.
yeah, I want to destroy our enemies. Like he respects them, but it's like, yeah, it's our time. Like we're gonna destroy our enemies, and we need this good weather.
Mm.
Yeah, I watched.
And and the what was cool about this is they while as they showed this montage of what was actually happening, like where his troops are advancing, and they're destroying where they need to go, and they're getting done what the mission is, what needs to be accomplished, while he's doing that prayer. It's obviously it's movie magic, by the way,
Mhm.
but it's the idea behind it is like it's really powerful. So I really enjoyed like kind of that scene that was done in the movie, and ultimately like what was really great, because Patton knew what was going on. He hated the Russians. He didn't give them any respect, as should have been the case. Like, the Russians were terrible. Stalin was a evil man that we allowed to be in our inner circle during the war. Um, and the European front was essentially when we defeated the Germans. Patton is like, we need to like keep going. Like, these guys are going to be the enemy. Like, they are weak. Let's just destroy them now, so we don't have to deal with them later. And he was right. Um, and there's this whole thing like towards the end of the movie where they're kind of celebrating with the Russians, and
Oh,
he's
I
like,
love that scene.
the scene
That was a great scene.
where he's like, I will not take a drink with these Russian sons of bitches. Fuck them. It's kind of the idea is like, fuck them. Like, I hate these people. And
Where I loved it when the translator was like, I can't say that to him. I
Yeah,
can't do that.
it's like,
You bet
yeah,
your
you will.
ass you will.
you bet your ass, you better. Word for word.
And he sat there and translated it, and and that Russian general was like,
Say,
well,
I think you're a son of a bitch too.
It's like, oh, I can drink to that.
but it's like, you remember back, in the middle of the movie, the guys were walking, and he was riding around in the Jeep, and the guy turns around and was like, "Oh, well, who's that?" And he was like, "Oh, that's old General Blood and Guts or whatever." Um, the two guys that were talking during that scene, if you watch, when during the snow, when they're in Europe, they're actually right there walking with General Patton in the snow together.
Yeah, that's right.
When they noticed that they were, he was walking in between them, they were like, "Oh shit," and it was like, to me, to see that, and I didn't have, like, when I went to Iraq, I didn't, the general, we didn't have a general, we had a colonel, and a sergeant major. Um, I did do a couple, ride-alongs with them, um, and I can't say too much on it because of the stuff we had to do, but um, the only time we ever seen our colonel was when he had to go from one base to another base, and he always stayed inside and was protected. Now our sergeant major, gee, that man didn't care. He wanted to go. He honestly, like, if anybody was reincarnated from General Patton, would have been my sergeant major, because that's honestly the way he was portrayed in the movies was exactly how my sergeant major was. He didn't like cowards. He didn't like the whole, pansy acting or nothing like that. If you were gonna be a Marine, you were gonna be a Marine. You were gonna stand tall, do what you needed to do to make the world a better place. And he hated Iraq. But you know, Patton Patton just wanted to make the world a better place. Wanted to make America great and stuff. So, but
Yeah, it's that's the thing. It's like there's that line like when he's talking about Ike. It's like, that's a problem when you become an ally instead of an American. It's like where you sometimes make,
piss poor decisions.
yeah, and I kind of agree with that because we're kind of at that point now where, oh, we have to be kind to these people, and listen, like, I'm all for like treating people with like dignity and stuff like that, but there comes a point in time where like these people are not good people. I'm not saying that we're great people all the time either, but like, honestly, like, but when it comes to like, if I'm gonna choose like, the Americans over like some other country, I'm choosing us. Fuck those people.
Yeah, but we're not running around. All right. For example, like, all right, I lost one of my really good guys while I was over there. You know, to a VBID. You know, and this is a vehicle-borne, you know, improv explosive device. You know, the guy literally stole a gasoline tanker.
Jesus.
Damn.
Okay, ran it through. It ran it through our barricades and had a had a suicide vest on. And when when he ran it through and he stopped and he turned around and he pulled the pin and it blew up. You know, I don't see us driving through the street with suicide vests on and killing each other. Yeah, we got some dumb assholes out here who think it's cool. I'm gonna get a gun and go shoot up somebody's house. Yeah, and one day somebody's going to end up doing that, and they end up going shooting back from the house, and then you'd be like, "Damn, I really don't think I should have done that because now I got a hole in my head."
Yeah.
You know, or like you know, a little bit off, a lot off subject and everything. You know, I don't know. I don't know if Andy, you don't have kids, do you?
No, I don't got any kids.
None that he knows of.
Yeah, at least none that I know of.
Well, I've I've got four. I got two step kids, and I've got two biological kids and everything. Um, and I'm part of this group on Facebook. It's called Dad Talk, and a lot of parts, like we were talking about earlier, the media doesn't cover. They cover um, the fact of people coming across the borders who are unvaccinated, vaccinated, okay, whatever. Um, we get people here in the country who are going to go pick up their kids for visitation, and the dads are getting killed. You
Jesus.
know, y'all don't. Nobody hears about this crap on the news.
Hmm.
And I know this is off subject and stuff, but you know, we sit here and we talk about the stuff over in Iraq or over in Afghanistan and the political standings, but it's kind of messed up that we don't talk about this stuff. It's
Well, yeah, I
everybody.
mean, but a lot of times it's not because no one wants to talk about this. It's because the media companies, the social media companies, they have too much power, and so
Yeah,
they deem certain subjects verboten, and so like
but
it's
I
not
can
it's
get
not as though we can't talk about these things. It's like
right,
they just won't
but
allow for it.
I can
But I
guarantee you,
mean, we could still
who
we I mean just
are
we could still talk
you?
about this stuff. Just it just has to be in person.
Yeah, but if you turn around and you have a woman who is going to go pick up their child and she's being shot, and I know everybody who's watching this or whoever's watching this be like, "Oh, he's sexist." No, I'm not being sexist. I'm telling you the truth. If a woman is shot, you're going to hear about it.
Oh yeah.
But if a
I mean, it's just
but if a
like
man is shot, you're not going to hear about it.
yeah, it's just like back when the Obamas were in charge. There was that big thing about hashtag bring back our girls because like this girls' school, some like rebel fighters or whatever came and like absconded with like
Right.
yeah like 200 girls, and it was like the big story. But then just a week or two before, like more like twice as many boys were absconded with, to be turned into child soldiers. But there was no like big hashtag movement or, um,
Right.
no social media outcry saying, "Oh, this is horrible," And there's so it's just what it is. We're again not being sexist. We're just telling it as it is. It's
Yeah.
like yeah,
Well, it's like those two women. Like after 9/11, there was two women who started raising money, and you know, it kind of baffles my mind. Um, because these two women after 9/11, they're from New York.
Mhm.
They started biking around the U.S. Collecting money from business owners and people to send over, to take overseas to give to women in Afghanistan and Iraq, to help them out. And I'm sorry, but I've been over in that country. I've watched what these women do. I've seen what these women can do.
Mhm.
And if half of these women honestly believe that a woman from over there is going to trust a woman from here and keep money away from a man who their whole lives has been told, you know, you honor the man, you
Mhm.
you worship the man, to give them that, not to give them that money, yeah, y'all full crap. But um, uh, dang, I had a brain fart. I'm sorry.
It's all right, but
Yeah, I mean it's getting toward. Yeah, we're over 2 hours, so it's understandable.
yeah, but
Brain's a little
no.
fried.
Any other thoughts on like any other like
Yeah.
scenes or things that you really enjoyed from like Patton, or maybe like some final thoughts on Patton?
Oh yeah, actually there is. Did you happen to watch the the last? It was the documented last years of Patton
I probably have. It's been a long time, but I think I have.
when he got in charge of what was it? When he got in charge of the Third Army after they
Mhm.
invaded in '44 and
Hmm.
everything. And they had the German soldiers and stuff in the um in lockdown in
Mhm.
Hmm.
certain places. Um, there was like in the opening scene of the movie, it shows him running down the street, and he's in his Jeep as usual, and he stands up and he's like looking at this. He's looking at the internment camp, or the
Oh yeah,
imprisonment.
Rommel. Yeah, Rommel.
Yeah, and he turns around and he calls the fella out. He turns around and calls the general out, or whoever's in charge. The guy comes out and he's standing there, and he literally looks at him and tells him, "This place looks like crap. Clean it up. Get your uniforms on. Where's your cover? Where's it at?" And the guy is like standing there looking at him like, "What the hell?" And one of the soldiers, the American soldiers is driving, looks up at him and goes, "Sir, I don't think he can understand you." He goes, "No, he knows exactly what I'm saying. He understands what I'm saying." He goes, "I'll be back in 24 hours. You better have this place cleaned up. All your men better be shined. Your boots better be spit polished. I'm coming to do a uniform inspection. I'm coming to inspect this place." And sure enough, he showed up 2 hours early.
Sounds like Patton to me.
Mhm.
So, but
Yeah.
he
All
was
right.
Well, this movie,
Yeah.
for me is one that I've come back to on a bunch of occasions. It's one of my favorite. It's probably my favorite war film.
Hmm.
It was definitely my grandfather's favorite war film, and
Mhm.
the idea. Well, initially we were starting last month. We pushed to this month for various reasons, and this is a movie that I really wanted Andy to see that he had never seen before.
Yeah. Well, at
Um,
least never finished. I've always been able to start it, or it's I come in at like kind of the middle or like towards the end, but
yeah,
I never watched it full like straight shot. But
yeah.
I'm glad I got the chance to do it this time because there's now like the fragments that I had prior are starting to make more sense or make more sense now. And yeah, this is a really good movie, and I think George C. Scott does an incredible job of portraying this legend in American or should be a legend in American culture. More people should know about him.
Yeah.
and appreciate what Patton did, or just his capabilities.
Well, I think the movie does
Save the
a
fact that he was kind of a nut job. Save the fact
yeah.
that he was a bit of a nut job.
I think the movie does a good job of not only just showing his like obviously it shows like a lot of his successes, but it
Mhm.
shows his flaws too.
Right. They
Like
definitely, yeah, they definitely show the pock marks, which I do appreciate.
it really shows a good complete picture of who Patton was. Uh, you know, uh, some of the stuff is maybe like a little bit inaccurate, but like for the most
Mhm.
part, like I said, the opening scene, where like uh, never Patton never wore his full regalia of medals except for one time, and that was because his wife forced him to take a picture with her with his full all his medals,
Mhm.
and that was a personal picture. He never
Mhm.
actually wore all of his
Yeah,
medals at
he
one
was. I mean,
time.
as much of a braggart as Patton was, he wasn't. He didn't peacock. He didn't like put up all. Yeah,
He
like
didn't
Robert was
need
saying, he
to.
didn't put up all his medals. He didn't put on the sash and the whole everything. He rather show. He was the type. He was a shower. No, he was a doer, not a shower.
And like I said, that was the. I mean, obviously for the initial beginning of the movie, it works. Like it's the right decision to do that.
Mm-hmm.
But in reality, he never did that,
Mm-hmm.
and he didn't need to. And that's where like I look at what we were talking about with like Millie, who just I mean his whole like breast is covered in like his medals and stuff. It's like who you trying to impress, dude? Like
Yeah.
we know you suck, dude. Like you're
Yeah, I mean, that is like, I mean, again, really quickly, but yeah, there was like that meme floating around where it showed Ike, in his dress uniform and like his like paltry like amount of ribbons on his chest,
he
and it
had
was
like
like
six.
and then it's like, and underneath it's like won a war, and then right next to him was General Milley, and again, as Robert said, his chest like full of medals, and and I think like, and on his arm you could see like the stripes of like the amount of years he was in the army or whatever, and it's like, and then right under it's like lost the war. It's like, where's the lie?
Yeah. But like I said, this is a movie that I love. I'm glad we got a
Mhm.
chance to talk about it for a little bit. Uh,
Yeah,
and yeah, this has been fun
yeah,
as always.
as always. All right, let's wrap things up here with and give our ratings. Reminder, David, we do a 5 scale. So yeah, so so let's start with you. What do you rate this movie?
God, y'all gonna hate me. I love Pat, man. I'm sorry. I've always been a fan of Pat. Um,
Hmm.
I, I I'd have to give it a 4.5.
Okay.
Yeah, dude, I don't hate you. Like we're on the same page, dude. Like I I'd probably give it a 4.5 too. Like uh, it's a little long, but like it's still great. Like so, like I said, I might knock it off like for being maybe just a little bit long, but that's about it.
I
Yeah.
The
Well,
only
I
reason why
mean,
I give it a 4.5 is because of the whole. I want to know was actual, factual. Because I'm sorry, I don't know. I think they had to throw in that part about where he was standing in the middle of the road and Messerschmitts are flying around and shooting at everything, and he gets a couple of stray bullets that goes through his legs. You know what I mean?
Yeah, yeah.
yeah. I'm sure there's a lot of exaggeration or things embellished for the sake of storytelling. But
Well, I
yeah, I
mean, like
think
I said,
I
the screenplay was based off of two separate biographies, so
Right.
right, right. But yeah, I think yeah we have a we have a three of a kind here tonight, and yeah, I also will give this a 4.5. Pretty much for the same reasons that David gave, and also the reasons that Robert gave. So yeah, we tonight here rate Patton at 4.5.
all right, I like it.
All right. Yeah, this is fun. Yeah, movie reviews are always fun. And I'm glad that David was able to participate, give some of his insights, his real world insights to the nature of like war, and whether or not some things could be embellished, or if they can actually happen, like that goat scene, like that donkey scene on the bridge. Like I thought that was exaggerated. I thought it was exaggerated, but I mean, hearing
No, it's true. Things
yeah,
like that do happen.
but hearing David's anecdotes from his own experience in wartime, like, yeah, but then also, with the confirmation from Rob about how like that actually did happen, and so, um, yeah, so I think, yeah, it just gave, it was like there was tonight's review was very rich, uh, and yeah, it was, and I think we're better for it.
Yeah, do yourself a favor if you've never seen Patton. This is the quintessential George C. If you're a George C. Scott fan, this is the movie to watch. This is the movie that I think everyone knows him for, that made him
Hmm.
famous.
Yep.
I mean, he's been in a bunch of other stuff too, but like this is the movie for George C. Scott. He really did embody. He honored Patton in a big way, and this is a great quotable film. A lot of the stuff
Oh
that
yeah,
happened in the
that's right.
movie, and a lot of the stuff that happened in the movie, really happened,
Mm,
and it's really good. I can't
right.
recommend it enough.
Yeah. Yeah.
And
I mean,
It is. It's a very good movie. Robert is right. It's a
yeah,
movie that
agreed. It's a
cannot be
great
recommended
movie.
enough.
Yeah, it's a great movie. Technically, storytelling wise, it's a great movie. But yeah, just really quickly, before we sign off, I totally blanked on this, but there are two lines in this movie that I didn't realize were from this movie, because one, I never watched this movie full on through, but I think it speaks to the greatness of this movie, or greatness of these lines that first came up in this movie. And one of them is when Patton gets orders to not go, not because it's the Sicily campaign, and he's given orders. He's given orders not to, break off and go and take Palermo, and his aide is like reading off the message, and then Patton says, it's like, "Oh no, that's what you think it says." And he's like, and then the aide is like, "Sir." And it's like, oh, like, well, how can you tell by such a garbled message? It's like, yeah, ask him to send the message again. You know?
After you send it again, it'll take another day and a half.
Yeah,
to
and then
get
yeah,
back.
and then yeah, and then yeah, and take your time. Take like 3 days to make sure you got the message correct. And
Yeah.
so, but then one of my favorite Star Trek series, Star Trek Deep Space Nine, appropriates that line, because Captain Sisko is ordered not to take his ship and go after these rebels called the Maquis. And then his first officer says, "Oh, Captain, we got orders from Starfleet. We're not to pursue blah blah blah." And then Captain Sisko says like, "Oh no, that's what you think it says." And then it's kind of plays out similarly. It's like, "Oh, how can you tell by it's so garbled?" And then
Yeah.
also lastly, that scene where he has that face to face with Montgomery, because Montgomery thinks he's like the big man on campus, and he's doing his parade, but then he gets to wherever it is, but then you have Patton there to with all his tanks and all his men, and and then
He beat him there.
yeah, he
Yeah.
beat him there, and so disobeying orders, and he does he does the formalities and salutes him, and he says, "Oh, I shaved very closely in anticipation of being slapped by you." Um, but and then again, another great sci-fi property that appropriates that line is Battlestar Galactica.
That's right.
But then in this context, it's they're holding an election for vice president, and this character named Tom Zarek, who was like a terrorist, who is released because of whatever reason, and there's some shenanigans. Like he was definitely trying to become vice president to presumably, stage a coup and knock off the sitting president to become president. But his plans are thwarted, and when he loses, he comes and does like the what's that word? Consolation kind of greeting to the president, and he says that line to the president because it's great. I'm kind of butchering it because it's late and I'm tired and I'm kind of I'm trying to be as brief as possible so we can hurry up and get this over with because I know Robert's just like I want to get this fucking thing over with.
No,
but yeah,
I want. We deal in cinematic archaeology because the Simpsons. I have a couple of Simpsons examples that that parody Patton. So
right, yeah, oh yeah, that's right, yeah, and I think I know the episode you're talking about.
Robert,
specifically part the general.
Yeah, exactly. But yeah, that's our review for Patton. We all give it 4.5. Definitely go check it out. It is worth a watch. I want to thank you guys for joining us. I hope you guys enjoyed this. I had a good time. I know Rob had a good time. Dave, did you have a good time?
Did I have a good time?
I hope you did.
Yeah, I hope you did.
Southern Unabomber is in his shed. I'm having a great time.
All right. Yeah. Well. Yeah. Thanks for joining us tonight. We will have you on again.
Oh God, I'm going to jail.
Yeah.
well, next week I'm excited for it because we're going to be doing Andy and I are going to be doing a double feature of films, two that he has never seen. We're going back to the Old West with Once Upon a Time in the West and One-Eyed Jacks.
Yes, I've been hearing about these movies forever, and so it's it's about time I sat down and watched them. But yeah, that's all for next week, and I hope you'll join us. To the and God, oh my God, it's so late. Yeah, but it'll be for sure. It'll be for sure a good time.
For you, huh?
Yeah. It's been kind of a long day for me, so yeah.
It's 11:40 over here.
Fair enough.
Well, here I'll say this right here. If anybody ever wants to join me, I do I'm starting up this week with live streams.
Oh, nice.
I'll be playing Destiny
on Twitch.
2. I have, huh?
On Twitch.
I'll be doing Twitch too.
Oh, okay.
I'll be switching back and forth between YouTube and Twitch.
Nice.
Andy, I'll send you my information in case you want to put it down in the bio or whatever.
Okay, yeah, for sure. Yeah, just send it through the group chat.
I will.
I'll slap it up there. Yeah.
All right, but yeah, I do. I'll probably be doing some Miles Morales, Spider-Man, some Destiny 2. I'm wanting to get Robert back into playing some Destiny and stuff.
I really need to get to that. Yeah.
Yeah, you do, because I need help, man. I got some.
I'm gonna re-download it this week so we can get back into it.
Yeah.
So I should have some time this weekend. So.
Yeah, Joy's gotta let you play too.
I know.
That's all right. Tell my sister-in-law I love her though. It's okay. I understand.
Yeah.
Her putting that strap on to you is got to chill out some. Oh, no laughing from me.
Yeah, he knows.
All right, yeah. All right, yeah. Well, yeah, we'll have I'll include after this is archived. I'll include Dave's Twitch channel information and whatnot in the description down below. But yeah, thank you for joining us tonight. Please don't forget to check out the library of other content we have. We have the Circle of Jerks main podcast, Nocturnal Transmissions, of course, and Rob's gaming show, Up by Up Down. Don't forget to follow us on our various social media accounts, Twitter and Letterboxd at PodcastCOJ, and Instagram at Circle of Jerks Podcast. And with all that said, for Rob and Dave, we thank you and we say goodnight, and we'll do it all again next week.
Have a good night.